Hi, everybody, and welcome to EchoCast. I'm here on a very special EchoCast. I'm joined by Marty Elford. We are actually on site at the Omni Hotel in Arizona. We're hosting many of our learning leaders here for our special Echo Experience 2025 in North America. And so we're bringing the action to you on our EchoCast podcast directly. I could not be more thrilled to be joined by Marty, who has 25 years of experience within K-12 education, 15 years of education experience within higher education, and currently works within the special education department at University of Illinois, Edwardsville. Really excited to have you, Marty. From the first time I met you, actually at a previous Echo 360 conference, I know you've been working with our GoReact team for many years, and I'm just so excited to have you and be featuring you on the show because I know that so many people could learn so much from you and your wealth of experience. So thank you so much for joining.
David, I'm happy to be here. I'm just learning about Echo 360 and I love to learn, so I can't wait to dig a little deeper in all the things that you're doing. I've had such an amazing time the last 2 days. I will be thinking and thinking and thinking for months to come.
That's awesome. And I know we, over the course of the last few days, have had a chance to connect and kind of dive into the work that you do. Maybe for everybody who's just joining us here for the first time, can you give a little bit of a background of what you're doing in the university, what you've done over the past several years, and some of the goals and what's driven you to do so?
I've always wanted to be a teacher. I decided when I was in the 8th grade that teaching was the profession that I wanted, and I've never veered away from that. It's been a passion of mine my whole life. When I figured out that they might not let me teach middle school if I got to be 70, then I thought maybe I could teach teachers, or maybe I could work with teachers to help them get better at their job. And so I started learning about coaching and to support teachers and coaches. And from there, I did a lot of distance coaching, which got me involved in technology. We had a chance to take the master's program online at the University of Kansas, and they asked me to figure out how to do distance supervision. And that's how I became associated with GoReact, because if you have students from all over the country, you can't drive to observe their teaching. Yeah. But the added benefit is that amazing opportunity for teachers to learn what it looks like to do what they do when they watch themselves on video. That's what I'm doing right now. That's what I've been doing for the last 15 years or so, is working with pre-service teachers who want to become special educators, helping them figure out how to demonstrate what they've learned in their coursework, demonstrate their competency, and then build their capacity as learners, because they're stepping into a world that I can't even imagine. And they're going to need to meet the needs of their students. Yeah. In a whole new environment, a whole new world.
And obviously this kind of work that you're doing and have been doing and been involved with for many years, because I really believe that this kind of work is a calling. This isn't something that you just wake up with and decide, I'm going to try to transform the learners, educators, and students of tomorrow, right? This isn't something that you just wake up one day and do. Maybe can you talk a little bit about what this means to you personally and kind of what's driving the passion that you have for this? Because we would be so lucky if everybody in your position had the same feeling about it and the same passion. And I hope that that's the case, but I doubt it is because of how amazing you are. So if you could talk a little bit about that.
I think SNEC talks about figuring out what the why is. Mm-hmm. And I came to that much later. Like I knew I wanted to be a teacher from an early age because of a teacher I had, a teacher who made a difference in my life long before there was anything shiny, just a chalkboard and a teacher and literature that she made come alive. She validated me during middle school when things were bumpy. I thought, that's what I want to do. I want to empower to be the best they can be, because that's what was my experience. And so now I take it very personally when I hear, and I know that's silly because it's not about me, but it feels personal when I hear a teacher complain about being a teacher. If you don't want to be a teacher, be something else. You have choices. But if you don't have a passion, you don't belong here, because you are shaping the lives of not just one person, but the lives of every person that person will touch. Came to special education in a roundabout way. It's too long a story, but now, after I decided on special education for my PhD, I had grandchildren born, and 3 out of the 5 have disabilities. And so all of a sudden, students with disabilities are even more than they were before. And so I believe that my role is to help prepare and support future teachers so that I would trust them to teach my grandchildren. Sometimes that creates problems, because there are some people who can get all the way through a program, and when it comes time to demonstrate what they know, it's evident that they can do the work on paper, but they can't demonstrate the qualities and the strategies that are needed to really support those students that need them the most.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that, because when I first heard Marty's story, when we first met, that touched me. I have people in my family, same situation, and just hearing that people were out there that were caring enough to take that initiative and take that extra step and really be thinking about that meant a lot to me. And so I wanted everybody to hear that so many of the students and the instructors of the future are being impacted by people like Marty and sharing her story. So thank you. One thing I want to talk about. So you've used GoReact, our authentic assessment tool, for many years. What I would love to kind of talk about, assessing students in flexible ways that are based around how they learn. It's not only about the students your instructors are going to be teaching, it's also about the student instructors that you're instructing today. And so can you talk a little bit about how GoReact has been able to make your instruction more flexible and more open to the ways that different people learn?
Well, I absolutely love GoReact because, first of all, it gives the teacher candidate a chance to see what it looks like to do what they do. In the old model, where a supervisor would go into the classroom, take copious notes, sit down with the teacher candidate, there's the pre-conference, there's the demonstration of skill, and then there's the post-conference. So the supervisor does all this work, pays attention, they know what they're supposed to be looking for, the goals the teacher candidate has, and they deliver that in a kind and honest way. The teacher candidate has this narrative that's playing in their head. Well, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
Because they're looking at it from the teaching side, and the supervisor's looking at it from the supervisor side. What GoReact does is it takes the data of the actual teaching and permits the teacher and the supervisor to look at that data together. It can be done in real time if you have face-to-face supervision that you do. Still use GoReact. Don't just say, I'm just going to go and observe, because you miss that of authentic data. And so the other thing that GoReact does is it helps the supervisor in that pre-conference. You can say, what is it you really want to work on? In our program, we use classroom management called CHAMPS, setting expectations in that way, and some teacher candidates really feel like they can't do that very well. And so we say, okay, that's what we're going to work on. But also, I want you to remember that you need to state the objectives more than once. I let them go through and look for all those things. And they have to post first what they see. And then I go in, I post what I see, and then I add some things. Also, right here, do you see how that student didn't directly answer the question, and you gave them feedback? You didn't tell them what they needed to do next. So you can enhance or improve your feedback by, if they see it, if they hear themselves doing it, that is so much better than me telling them, because they may not care what I think, but the data is right there.
The data is right there. That's exactly right. And it's just so amazing, because I know for so many different kinds of learners and so many different kinds of folks that have been in education for a long time. Just sitting down and taking a test on paper, it doesn't work for everybody in terms of being able to demonstrate their knowledge and the skills that they have.
Well, and you ask, what has GoReact done in my instruction? So I felt so good yesterday when I listened to Dr. Miller, because so many of the things that I'm doing in my coursework were validated. So if I give them something to do related to universal design for learning, teach them about it. I get them to work in groups to figure out an architectural structure for a lesson plan that uses universal design for learning. And then I ask them to make a recording and teach me or teach their colleagues what universal design for learning is and how they've incorporated it for their students. It's not an essay they write. I don't even have to watch them and critique whether they're using universal design for learning. If they can explain it to someone else, then I know they're learning it. And you can do that with GoReact. And now that GoReact has the AI capabilities, I can go in there and say, this is what we're looking for, and AI will tell them. And then they can either argue or comment or agree or go, oh, I hadn't even thought of that.
Dr. Miller and the conversation that was referenced were at our Echo Experience conference. That was one of our amazing speakers that everybody had the treat of listening to yesterday on ASU's campus where we were hosted. One last question before I let you go. We think about special education and how it's evolved over time. I mean, I remember, my dad is a lefty. He'd be sitting in school when he was a kid. The teacher was trying to basically force him to be a righty, right? And that's not necessarily a learning difference, but that's just kind of the mindset of the time. And so what I would love to get your perspective on, if we're thinking about the continuum of, not supporting diverse learners and really just learners in general at the highest level at 0%, and we think of a perfectly accessible learning environment that supports everybody's needs over the last 80 years, where do you think we are today, and where can we be going in the future to make sure that everybody's fully supported in the classroom and beyond?
So let's use the reference of your dad being a lefty. So there was a time when that was not permitted. Children were, in fact, forced to use their non-dominant hand. It was painful. They couldn't master writing because it was their non-dominant hand. They became ambidextrous, so that was a positive outcome, because now they could use both hands. But what educators were saying is that the world is built for right-handed people. And so if you're going to fit into the world, you have to be right-handed. So that 0 is a world that did not include anyone besides the general population. So I think we've come farther than that. In education, we've made some headway. Individuals with Disabilities Education Act made it the law that students with disabilities had a right to free and public education. Then we had to make that accessible to them, and so that's what ADA has done. We've had that top-down pressure from the government. It takes a lot to build a ramp when the traditional model is for stairs. Thinking about a world that could include everyone, a classroom that could include everyone, so that if I have students who come to me and some are deaf or blind or have attention disorders or behavior disorders or a learning disability in math, how can I serve all those needs in one place? I think universal design for learning is the answer, and their constructs around the architecture of how you build the learning experience. Multiple means of representation, multiple means of expression, multiple means of expression. It always comes to me, but there's 3 principles with 4 words, so it makes it difficult. If we use that as our standard architecture, we'll get there eventually, because we're building a world a classroom, a learning experience that anyone can access, regardless. How far are we on the continuum? Maybe if 100 is perfect, then we're maybe at 30. And we have all these technologies, but they only go so far. And so that's going to be the challenge of the future, is how to take those technologies that are rapidly advancing and use them to make a learning experience, whether it's for children in public education or for adult learners or for an aging population that can't remember things as quickly, or they become arthritic, can't use their bodies in the same way. It's not just about someone who was born with a disability. It's also about accessibility for everyone. It's got to take a mindset change. It's got to take a shift in our thinking. It's not, we are doing this for this group of people. No, what's good for people with disabilities is good for all of us. And that will change the world.
Absolutely. Ramps benefit everybody.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Elford. We're going to let Dr. Elford go now, but everybody else, stick around because we're going to talk about and show some of the specific functionality that was referenced on this EchoCast. If you would like to see more of them, you can go to our website, echo360.com, to see our past episodes and our past amazing guests that we've had, and you can learn more ways to transform your own learning. Thank you, Dr. Marty Elford, for showing us how video-based instruction can transform educator preparation and how GoReact supports authentic assessment across the spectrum of learning needs and preferences. My name is David Kaplan, product expert here at Echo360, and I'm excited to bring to life some of the tools and methods that institutions like the University of Southern Illinois at Edwardsville and others are using to empower flexible learning through GoReact. As Dr. Elford alluded to, GoReact enables instructors to create rubrics that guide learners through performance expectations, whether for self-reflection or high-stakes assessments. These rubrics are tied directly to video submissions, allowing instructors to tag feedback to specific moments and criteria, creating a rich, time-stamped learning experience. To demonstrate how GoReact supports this, I'm going to take us on a brief journey showing how to build rubrics, upload videos, and deliver feedback across the modalities supported, whether in person, hybrid, or asynchronous. I'll show you how easy it is to create a rubric aligned to course outcomes, upload a video for assessment, and use GoReact's feedback tools to support learner growth. First, GoReact allows instructors to build rubrics from scratch or adapt existing frameworks. These rubrics are then attached to assignments, guiding both the learner and the evaluator. Once a student uploads a video, whether it's a classroom presentation, clinical simulation, or remote performance, the instructor can leave feedback directly tied to rubric criteria. Importantly, GoReact supports flexible delivery. Students can submit videos from any device, and instructors can review and respond asynchronously. This flexibility is key for institutions supporting diverse learners across multiple locations. For this demonstration, I'll be using GoReact's browser-based interface to show how a student uploads a video and how an instructor uses the rubric to provide targeted feedback. You'll see how responses can be tracked, graded, and synced to a connected LMS. Dr. Elford's work exemplifies how GoReact supports authentic assessment and how, through its use, institutions experience the benefits of transformational learning. Because learning changes for the good.